Thank you, Shepard. Well, ahead of the president's addressing the nation tonight, the sheriff who has a message for the president today.
You're the only singular person in this entire country that can advance or adopt meaningful immigration reform. By that very definition, then, it is your singular failure alone as to why we do not yet have reform, why America continues to be at risk, and new crimes and new victims are mounting each and every day in every single state.
Say what you will about how that video was cut, the sound on that video, all of that. Well, it's gone viral, everybody, everywhere. The sheriff tells us why he did it here and only here. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And Sacramento Sheriff Scott Jones says he just wanted to make a few things clear. What the president is about to do tonight, freezing deportations for millions of illegals, doesn't only create a mess, it ignores an even bigger mess. The sheriff with me now to explain. Sheriff, you know, we watched that. We were all watching it here. And the more we watched it, the more we were like, whoa, whoa. What were you trying to do?
There was a couple of things I was trying to do, and thanks for having me on, Neil. The first thing was obviously to make a direct appeal to the president and not shun his responsibility, and recognizing, of course, Congress has a lot of blame for this, but he is a singular person. There are many things that he can do as an individual, the only one. The second thing, recognizing that may not have the desired result, is to perhaps start a bit of a movement, or at least give a voice for folks who feel the same way, but don't necessarily have the same platform.
But your platform was what? What you were trying to say was that just freezing deportations for millions of illegals won't cut it. You're ignoring something bigger. What were you getting at?
Well, the problem is you're not, this deferred action is deferring the crisis. It does nothing to make America safe. It does nothing for comprehensive immigration reform. And frankly, it's divisive. So you're qualitatively deciding that a certain group of these undocumented population has greater value or is in somehow a higher standing, which pushes the rest of the 12 million undocumented folks back into the shadows. And comprehensive immigration reform has to involve a discussion of all 12 million. And no matter what venue or eventual pathway to immigration reform we do, to be successful has to start with securing the border. So what possible reason could there be for not starting that now, not doing that now and saying, let's discuss this, but first, as we're doing that, as we're figuring out what we're going to do, we need to secure our borders to make anything work, including the amnesty program that he's contemplating today.
You know, the president has argued that he's waited for Republicans to do just what you're saying, that he's offered border protection, and they thumb their noses at it. I know you try assiduously to avoid getting political. I mean, you rep Republicans, too, in your open appeal today. But what do you make of that? That no matter how much the other side, let's say the president is going after and promising border security, you want to see it. And when you say that, what do you want to see specifically?
Well, there's a couple of things, and clearly Congress is to blame, and I wanted this to be apolitical, an apolitical appeal. Congress has blame, but they're a body. They're not an individual. So when you look at individual responsibility, and not as a group, such as Congress, House Republicans, or Senate Democrats, the president can do a number of things. Number one, he can, and what we expect him to do, is flex his political muscle to ensure that that's a priority by simply saying, I'm not going to do anything else until I get a viable, comprehensive, sustainable immigration reform bill from Congress.
So you don't just believe him that he has offered that and Republicans have rejected that or just glossed over that? You just don't think that's happened?
The stated reason for waiting until after midterm elections just demonstrates to me, and I think to many Americans, that it is a political maneuver. And the other thing he can do, frankly, is he's solely responsible for the hands-off policy that exists in Homeland Security and Customs and Border Protection and ICE. They need to be allowed to do their job. They need to have the staff and resources to do it, and they need to have the direction that they're going to take the enforcement actions on the laws that already exist instead of being hands-off. Only he can do that, and he's not doing that. So that can have an effect on securing our borders without any physical barrier. That could certainly start and set the tone for securing the borders. He can do that as an individual person.
Did you have any idea, Sheriff, that you'd set up like a YouTube sensation here?
Well, I didn't fully appreciate the extent to which it would go viral. And frankly, I thought it would be popular. I knew it would make local news. But candidly, I think I am speaking for folks across this country that are frustrated and don't feel like they have a venue. And that's why in the video I invited folks to kind of make their own video. I'm just one guy. I'm one person's voice. And although I'm lucky enough to have a political platform and a responsibility to use it, I think. I think if I'm joined by many, many other voices, 10 becomes 100, becomes 10,000, becomes 50,000 or 100,000, then it becomes a loud voice, one that I feel shouldn't or can't be ignored.
Well, it's certainly getting a big response. Sheriff, thank you again. We'll see what the president says tonight.
Thanks.